Greetings, Hogs. This is Joe Brandenburg coming to you from Hogg University HQ in Jefferson, Iowa, aka King William's Castle, aka the Squad HQ. Going to be making a video series today about keys to a big squat. In the first video, I'm going to be laying out an outline of points that I think are very important and often overlooked in the movement. I can only comment on my own squat technique because that's the technique I use. Obviously there are different techniques for squatting, so the points may be different for each one, aka like a high bar, low bar. I consider myself to be a almost always high bar squatter, but I would call it like a mix of mechanics. But basically what I'm saying is all the points I'll be making during this video will be pertaining to my style of squatting, so just bear that in mind. I'll be laying out the points, and then I'll be expounding on them later in the video, or in later videos in the series, going into a little bit better detail on each one. So, without any further ado, I will begin. Okay, the first and most important thing, I think, is having an adequate muscularity. Having an adequate muscularity will allow you to be stable in all positions. What I'm talking about mostly is obviously you need big quads and hamstrings, but having good adductor and abductor muscle groups built up will allow you to keep your knees out and keep you in strong positions biomechanically, and they're often overlooked in my opinion. That's why you'll see people crunching squats, with an Olympic style, and their knees will practically touch. I think it's disgusting, and I think there's no need for it really. The next point is having adequate mobility. Having adequate mobility will allow you to stay in mechanical advantage. It will allow you to stay in good positions throughout the movement, and it'll allow you to be strong, because the better your leverages are, obviously the stronger it's going to be. So that's another important. Next thing is technique. Technique is often held back by having inadequate mobility. So you need to observe good technique, but a lot of times you have to have the mobility to go with it. So these kind of go together. Oftentimes bad cues or poor cues will hold you back. Certain people, I'm not going to pick on any particular one, but everyone needs certain cues to do the movement properly. You need to have great attention to detail. You need to focus on all the small muscle groups, all the small cues. The small things make the big things possible, and you need to have intensity. Now what I mean by that is you need to have directed intensity. I'm not saying you have to be a psycho and run up to the bar and freak out. And yes, that's intensity and that's necessary at certain points if you're going particularly heavy. But what I mean by that mostly is you need to have directed intensity towards the things you need to do to make yourself good at squat. You need to pay great attention to detail while you're doing the squats and in between sessions as well, like with mobility and recovery and things like that. Directed intensity also includes fearlessness. You can't defeat yourself before you get under the bar, especially on heavy lifts or maximal effort lifts. I know a lot of people that they're defeated before they get under the bar. They give a shitty attempt, they go down, they don't even start to stand up with it. And that's intensity as well. Another form of intensity is being able to grind through reps. Not every rep's going to be perfectly clean, so you need to be able to continue, persist, and push through the reps. Finally, the most important thing, also, these are all the most important things. I know I've said like 5 things are the most important. I have a problem with that. They're all 1A, 1B, 1C. Okay, repetition is very important. Repetition, practice makes perfect. So you want to take all these cues, all these things that I've talked about, and you need to use them all the time on every squat. Every rep needs to be the same. You want to make lightweight look heavy and heavyweight look light. It's something I've heard in Olympic weightlifting, and I think it's perfectly applicable to almost every lift. You want to have high intensity on every lift, whether it's the bar or whether it's 100% of your maybe your max is the bar, I don't know. But what I'm saying is all these points, if you pay attention to them, will give you a good squat. So in further explaining these things, they may help you to get a better squat. I'll be expounding on these points in the next video and videos thereafter. Hopefully you stay with and watch them all. Thank you. Hogg University, Jefferson, Iowa, 50129.